Hi, and welcome to SpringPath's College and Career Readiness Success Tracks. I'm Elisa Ocone, Director of Outreach, and today is Success Track 1, Episode 3, all of those great activities to explore. So ninth graders, 10th graders, this is really your time to explore a variety of activities and classes and extracurriculars that you might not even be aware can have an impact on your post-secondary plan. So again, high school graduation maybe seems super far away at this point, but the choices that you make starting from the beginning of your high school career can have an impact, not just the classes that you choose to take and the extracurricular activities that you participate in, but how much time, effort, and energy you put into all of those classes and activities. Again, it can affect your post-secondary plans. So just a good time to think about this strategically if you want to, taking advantage of your high schools and your community's offerings can certainly help set you up for college admission success. But at the bare minimum, if college isn't part of your post secondary plan, this all helps give you a rewarding and interesting high school experience. So, the topics that we'll cover today again, coursework, your classes, language requirements. So, just a few thoughts on that, extracurricular activities, the impact of your activities and your involvement, and then creating a living resume in your SpringPath profile. So let's get started with coursework and how you can think about approaching coursework as you go through your high school career. So let's start with students who have a plan. So these notes are for those students who think you know what you want to pursue post high school, you have an intended major in mind. If that is the case, then to the best of your ability with what's offered at your high school, try to take classes that relate to your intended course of study, the major that you intend to pursue after high school. It can show focus in that area. So when college admissions professionals are looking at the courses you've taken, you show an interest towards that end and you've taken advantage of all or most of the opportunities that your high school has had to offer. Again, it shows commitment to that area of study and it shows you as a focused applicant. And it can also help you plan for balance in your class schedule. There are students, of course, who want to take every AP class that is available, regardless of what they're going to study. And that's okay. That might be the right choice for some students. But for those looking for a little more of a balance, it can help you focus on those higher level courses or AP courses in that subject area that you hope to pursue. And perhaps you can have a little more of a balance with those AP classes and some electives, perhaps. Um, so you're not maxed out all the time in all classes. So just something to think about. And then for those undecided students, using ninth and 10th grade as an opportunity to try out some electives is a great plan. So try out some new areas. It can be a way to see if a particular subject area interests you, maybe something you haven't explored before. So take a look at your high school's program of studies, talk it over with family and counselors, and maybe go for that digital photography course or the history of American music or marketing or culinary. So try something out that maybe you never thought that you would. You might find that it's a good fit. So again, great opportunity to explore things that you maybe wouldn't otherwise. Yeah, and just see what might fit. And then for all students, as far as courses go, you want to make sure that you're taking classes that challenge you. Rigor does matter in at least in the college application process. So, and it's not that you're necessarily compared with what another student took, but in terms of, another student applying from another school, but that you're taking the most challenging classes you can, so for your level that are offered at your high school. And that's really, really what matters. And of course, you're consulting not only with family, but you're consulting with your school counselor. If you have ideas about your high school courses that you're going to take, from now through the end, or concerns about classes and what's the right fit for you based on what your post-secondary plans are, certainly make time and talk to your school counselor about that. But again, use that program of studies as really an opportunity to explore what your school has to offer in terms of coursework, and then try to build a schedule to the extent that you can that fits with your plans, or that gives you the opportunity to explore electives. So again, you can kind of balance that rigor and make a schedule that works for you and that's right for you. All right, so also under the broader umbrella of classes and coursework, just want to take a moment to talk about world language requirements for a moment. It's something that not everybody thinks about early on, but my suggestion would be if you're planning on applying to college or university after high school, check with college websites for world language requirements. So as you get closer and you know perhaps where you might want to be applying, then you can look at those specifics, but just some general um, ideas to throw out there for you to consider because these things will matter when it comes time to apply. So many colleges do require 2 to 3 years of the same language with a passing grade. So you have to have passed each of those 2 to 3 years simply as a condition to apply. So it is a requirement to apply to that particular college or university. You need to have this on your high school transcript. Also know that some may require a semester or two of a language once you are there at that particular institution as a graduation requirement. So sometimes there is no escaping or language. Not that there should be. It is a great opportunity to learn and open up opportunities for you as well, having a second language. Other colleges may not require a language as a condition of admission, but if you have taken and passed 3 years of the same language, they may then waive the language requirement at the college so that you wouldn't have to take it when you're there. But again, it's different everywhere, but just know that there are world language requirements. And you need to just kind of dig in and do some research to see what it's like at different colleges or universities. But it's certainly something that you want to know, at least to a certain extent, if you think college is in the future for you, to know that it might benefit you to stick with that same language if at all possible, so that you can kind of maximize your credits, or number one, maximize your opportunities in the admissions process, but then maximize your credits once you are there at a particular institution. And then also just want to note that there are different policies amongst institutions about whether or not a high school level language course taken at the middle school level or taken in eighth grade can count as one of those years that we mentioned or that are above on this slide. So sometimes it is such that if it appears on your high school transcript, and some towns do this, they will put eighth grade courses that were worth high school credit that you've taken on your transcript. For some colleges, that is enough if it is listed there and you took French 1 in eighth grade and passed, and then ninth grade went on to French 2, they will count that, others won't. So it really depends. And again, you can always reach out to college admissions professionals to find out more about those requirements. Typically, the websites will have them as well, but just something to consider as you select courses and go through the process. All right, so jumping from classes to extracurricular activities, a super important topic for all students, regardless of what your post-secondary plan is. There are certainly those students who there are activities you've been involved in from a young age, and what you do in high school will be a continuation of those activities, whether it's outside of the school like dance or a sport that's not offered at the school, something you've been a part of since middle school. Maybe you've been that student council student and you plan on continuing on in some way with student government. Awesome. If you're someone who hasn't really explored that world of extracurricular activities, high school is a great time to do that. Certainly ninth grade, 10th grade, to start exploring what those opportunities can be. They not only will enhance a college application for certain, but also a way for you to explore your interests and work on collaboration and communication skills, which will benefit you regardless of what you do after high school, whether you enter the workforce or the military or a trade school or college. So involvement is crucial, I think, just in terms of overall personal development. So in terms of opportunities that you typically have at a high school, they are various. There are those academic type extracurriculars like a subject specific quiz bowl, like a math team or math bowl or math Olympiad. Clubs like Model UN, mock trial, even debate. Then, of course, you have social justice and special interest clubs. So it could be Black Student Union, it could be a diversity club, it could be something special. I have heard that there are pizza clubs or a cheese tasting club or something to that effect. So really, there are so many things out there for you to look for and get involved with. Community service, of course, at the high school level with community service-based clubs at the high school or in your local community. There are many organizations that welcome volunteer efforts from high school students. So again, that could be something that you talk to a school counselor about in terms of what are some of the opportunities in the community, but certainly you could reach out to people in the community as well. And then, of course, personal interest. So, and this kind of is all encompassing sports, music, theater, scouts, even your part time job. So, it doesn't necessarily fit into one of those above categories. But all of those are opportunities um, for you to be involved, not just in your high school community, which it is, but to show that you have interests outside the classroom and that you're invested outside the classroom as well. And that last bullet point there, start your own. If there aren't any clubs of interest or groups at your high school that you feel like you would want to be a part of, typically you can start your own. Um, and it might be that you have to find a specific or minimum number of students to be a part of that club with you. You often have to find a willing faculty or staff advisor, and sometimes approval needs to be granted from an administrator at your high school as well. But hopefully, you would have that opportunity. It doesn't hurt to ask. So, if you wanted to start a chess club or a fashion club, whatever it may be, uh, I would say advocate for yourself. Go talk to an administrator or someone who's in charge of clubs at your high school and see if you can do that. That's a great opportunity as well if you are applying to colleges afterward to say that you are a co-founder of a club and then obviously stuck with it throughout your years in high school. It shows initiative for sure. And you can even browse other high schools' websites to see what clubs they have for inspiration in terms of starting a club of your own. But whatever your interest may be, there is opportunity there for you. And I always think if you're someone who maybe isn't ready to go out there and start something of your own, start with activities that you truly enjoy, or you're not sure how do I split up my time? I'm interested in a whole lot of things. Pick the activities that you truly enjoy, the activities that are important to you, because whether you're pursuing college after or not, that really does matter to the admissions team. They want to see that you care about the activities that you participate in. Again, it will make for a rewarding high school experience and contribute to personal growth, whatever it is that you choose to do afterward. So, the impact of your involvement, and again, this certainly matters for those students who are applying to college or university after high school. There are a few things to consider about the impact. The first is the quality of those activities is more important than the number of activities you participate in. So I mentioned a moment ago, admissions counselors do want to see that you're doing things that matter to you. And it's very easy to see sometimes when students have loaded up on clubs and activities, especially loading up senior year to make a point or look, I'm involved in all of these things. It's really quality and commitment to those activities over the number of activities that you participate in. You get, and I'll use quotes, bonus points if the activities are related to your future path. So, again, if you're one of those students who knows I'm kind of this STEM applicant, or I'm humanities, or I'm theater, or whatever it may be, if your activities are related to that future path, again, it helps paint that picture of you and that story of you as that applicant with kind of that identity rather than someone who is all over the place. Also, bonus points if you demonstrate leadership. So the longer you participate in that activity, the better. So again, ninth grade is a great time to start. 10th grade is a great time to start. And even junior year over senior year. So again, it's investment in an activity or a group, it's continued involvement, and hopefully working your way towards leadership. And leadership doesn't necessarily mean that you are the president of every club. There are lots of ways to show leadership within groups or community service. And then bottom line, these activities are important because, as we just talked about, they show leadership, hopefully, commitment, and also time management. So that's kind of the overall impact your involvement has. And certainly for those students who are college bound after high school, it makes sense to the best of your ability, curate activities that help tell your story. Again, you're involved and invested rather than racking up a number of clubs and activities just for the sake of doing so. All right. So with this slide, I just want to take a moment to make it bigger for you to see because we're now talking about creating that living resume. Bear with me. So the best place to create your living resume and get started, hopefully you already have your profile created on SpringPath. Maybe you have your basic information in there. Here's where you will go ahead and translate all of that work you've done in extracurriculars and achievements that you've accomplished up to this point, a place to document all of that activity. And the sooner the better. So once you have your SpringPath profile set up, and you can see on the left-hand side, that is where all of your personal information will go. This is where college admissions professionals will see your information. So make sure it's correct and spelled correctly and numbers and locations are accurate. So take time on that side, and you'll see kind of on the upper right portion, your preferences. So in addition to self-reporting your GPA and test scores if you want to. This is where you would put in what is the type of degree you're looking for, an associate's, a bachelor's degree. What is the type of school, public or private? What are the majors you're thinking about pursuing after high school? And it's okay if you don't know, or there are a few on your mind that you want to try to explore a little bit. Location of the school, gender affiliation, religious affiliation, if that matters to you. So once you have all of that information in your profile, and again, this screen here is what college admissions professionals would see the same way. And I would liken this living resume here to what professionals use on LinkedIn. So it is a page where people can go and look for employees, and they can see kind of what they're doing, what they're involved in, what their positions and accomplishments have been at any time. So at any time, someone can go and look at this to get a snapshot of who you are. And that's why it's important to keep that living resume up to date. But you'll see on the bottom right, there's a section for extracurricular and achievements, and then work history as well. So pretty much all of the things that you do should go here. And again, with so much going on during your high school years, it's easy to forget everything. So the earlier you start documenting this information, the better. If you're a ninth or 10th grader, you'll continue to add new activities as you start them. If you're an 11th or 12th grader, you might need to take a step back and think about all of the things you've done up to this point in your high school career. So sometimes having to step back a little bit and assess all of that. But this is where you will do it. And again, this is what it will look like. You can see down there, football, you can put the dates that you've participated and what it is that you've done. So wanted to show the location first. We're going to move on to talk about some tips in cultivating this list and filling it out. Okay, so continuing on with the living resume that we just saw. At this point, so whether you're ninth grader, 10th grader, list everything you can think of. When it comes time, senior year, to start college applications, you'll then decide which activities and accomplishments should be included. Sometimes there will be more that you've actually done and participated in than you'll include on those applications, and that's absolutely fine. For now, you want to list everything you're doing, any awards or accomplishments, so when the time comes, you're not missing anything, and you can take the time to decide what's important and what's not. And again, when that point comes, when you're doing applications, you'll carefully craft the description using strong action words, and you'll be very purposeful about your language. But for now, just document your involvement as thoroughly as you can. If you participate in a certain community service activity, just write what it is that you do. Do you help train people? Do you lead people? Do you set things up? Whatever it may be you do in that club or group or community service, just list it in that description. Again, it should be accurate and grammatically correct. But in terms of strong language for your activities list, when it comes time for a college application, you will have time at that point to kind of pour through everything that's in this living resume and decide exactly how you word it. Again, as I said, the sooner you start, the easier it will be to keep this living resume current. And again, that's the point, so that as college admissions professionals are looking at your SpringPath profile, you have everything there. And maybe that one thing that you left off would be something that would make that person want to reach out and talk to you. So again, do the best you can to keep it current. For those of you who are maybe juniors or seniors and haven't started a resume yet, it can be helpful to ask a family member, reflect with you and help you remember what it is that you've done. Sometimes a parent or a sibling will remember an award or an accomplishment or an achievement that you received when it totally slipped your mind. So sometimes brainstorming with somebody else can be helpful. So I think overall, um, just kind of taking stock of what you think a future plan might be. Are there things you can be doing now in terms of classes, extracurriculars, crafting your resume that can maybe help you toward that end? And if not, if you're still kind of exploring, totally fine too. Take advantage of the opportunity that you have to take interesting electives that your high school offers, get involved in clubs, create your own, and really make this high school time fun for you as you explore and learn about yourself while at the same time, working with your school counselor to craft a post-secondary plan. All right, thanks so much for watching.